Everyone, factoring into the month-ahead forecast, we're going to have a look at the CFS and Beijing Climate Center models to see what they are showing maybe around the corner for January 2015. The temperature forecast went quite well. The forecast predicted that we'd have near normal temperatures, a little bit above average, but not such a big deviation as we had through most of 2014, which was a record-breakingly warm year. So average to slightly above average temperatures was the prediction. And in terms of rainfall, average to maybe even very slightly below average. Now, I think the rainfall was a little bit out. It was generally a wetter month, particularly in the north and west, than expected. But in the south and east, the rainfall came out nearer normal. But for the temperatures, it was okay. We came out with a central temperature of 5.2 degrees, which is around half a degree, something like that, above average. So it was still a little bit above average for the month as a whole, but nothing like the sort of 1 to 2 degree deviation that we've been getting through most of the months during 2014. As far as January is concerned, I say we'll be having a look at all of the charts from the Beijing Climate Center and the CFS B2 model in a moment. Before I get on with that, just want to say about the ads. There's links to articles on most of the pages at gasweathers.com. Have a browse through the widgets. Any articles that you're interested in, please do click through. There's also green keyword ads on some of the pages. So if you write go to green keywords, activate ads. When you click through word, go to our website, you support gasweathers.com by doing that. And there's yellow contextual weather related ads on those pages as well, so see what those are about and click through and just generally have a browse through the ads, see what they're about. If there's anything that you're interested in, please click through. And when you do this, you help to pay for the website, you help to pay for Gav's weather vids. And talking about the earnings from the Amazon shop, I've been able to plough back into new software to record the videos. So we're using new software to record videos and a new screen highlighter as well. It's all a little bit of a walk in the darkness for these, so I'm still not used to the new software. So if I have to stop and have people play around with it, I hope you bear with me. But hopefully things will go okay. The last couple of videos that I've done with this new software have gone pretty good. So let's get on with it and see what's happening. Here's the CFS V2 700 millibar height anomaly chart for January. So this is the anomaly that the CFS V2 is indicating for the coming month. Now, of course, with anomalies, you get deviations. So this won't be the pattern probably throughout the entire month. You may get a week or so that sort of deviates this. But once you average everything out from the 1st to the 31st of the month, this would be sort of the anomaly that you come up with if the model is correct. And what we're seeing here is quite a strong westerly flow. Actually, we've got a deep trough of low pressure in the Atlantic between Scotland and Iceland. We've got a ridge down around the Azores pushing into Spain and Portugal just here. So a pretty strong westerly flow coming across the Atlantic. That's an unsettled and generally quite a mild month being indicated there by the CFS V2. Now, as I say, you would get deviations from this. You could get a week where the pattern goes to something significantly different, maybe cold and maybe drier, something different. But over the month, that's the anomaly that the model is seeing. As we go through to the temperature forecast for January, this is the prediction from the model, and most of Europe having a warmer average month. Warmer than average month, very warm for central eastern parts of Europe. For us over in the west of Europe, for Britain and France, we're nearer normal, but we're still coming out a little bit above average. You would expect it really with that westerly flow being indicated. The rainfall anomaly is coming out wetter than average, significantly wetter than average month being predicted here in the blue colours, particularly to the west, but all parts coming out with rainfall above average. So a westerly, unsettled, relatively mild, wet January being predicted by the CFS V2. If we have a look at the Beijing Climate Center, now these are 500 millibar heights broken down into 10-day periods. So the first 10-day period takes us from the 6th to the 15th of January, and I'm a little bit late recording this because the long-range forecasting agencies appear to have had a few days off over the New Year and didn't update the charts. So I'm a little bit late recording this, and this anomaly generally would normally be from the 1st to the 10th, and then the 10th to 20th, 20th to the 30th, something like that, those 10-day periods. But this is a little bit later because the model was later updated. So this takes us from the 6th to the 15th of January. What we're looking at for the first 10-day period is that we have a deep trough of low pressure to the north of Scotland. We've got a ridge through the Azores going off in towards Spain and Portugal. So it's a virtually identical anomaly really to the CFSD2 with this strong westerly coming across the Atlantic. That's relatively mild, unsettled, and it could be quite wet and stormy even at times in the north and the west of the country. We go through to the next 10-day period. This takes us from the 16th to the 25th, and a little bit of a change going on here. It's very subtle, but we're starting to see the heights lowering around the Azores. Some of the above average heights are going up towards the east coast of the United States, and some still centred around Spain and Portugal. But actually, over the Azores itself, we're beginning to lower the heights a little bit. We've got this trough in the Atlantic, but it's weakening. And then, quite interesting, we've got a little area of above average heights centred around Greenland and going towards Iceland. It's not significant, but it is a bit of a change compared to the first 10-day period, and this could be indicative of some sort of change going on through the middle of January, that the pattern could be going into a slightly cold one. We've got this sudden stratospheric warming, or a stratospheric warming going on over the next few days over the top of the pole. As we get through to the middle of January, this could just be the signs that things are turning a little bit more blocked and possibly a little bit colder for that 10-day period. Then we go through to the final 10-day period, and this takes us into February because, as I say, we're a little bit late now with the update. So this 10-day period takes us from the 26th of January to the 4th of February, and what we're seeing here is that we're setting up a trough of low pressure to the north and the northeast of the country, so to the north of Scotland and going off over Scandinavia as well. We've got a ridge somewhere in the middle part of the Atlantic. Again, this could be hinting at something a bit colder for the latter stages of the month. We could be pulling down sort of northwesterly, possibly even northerly influences with that. So it could be a little bit colder, I think, if this update comes off. If the Beijing Climate Center's got this right, it could be a little bit colder for the second half of the month. The first half, very westerly. The second half could be a bit on the colder side. The temperature anomaly for the month, going from the 6th of January to the 4th of February, is coming out ever so slightly above average. So we're just over here on the far extreme sort of right-hand side of the chart as you're looking at it, a little bit above average, the anomaly, but not a huge deviation again. Similar to December, really, a little bit above average, but not a huge deviation, and most of the warmth occurring in the first half of the month. The rainfall anomaly is coming out significantly wetter than average, so the CFS and the Beijing Climate Center both in agreement really with the temperature and rainfall anomalies. A significantly wetter than average month being predicted here. Now, I'm going to come up with a forecast based on this, and the question is, do I agree with what this is suggesting? And more or less, broadly speaking, I think this has got this about right. The first half of the month, I think, is going to be very mild at times, potentially. Westerly, unsettled, there'll be bouts of rain coming through. I would expect the second half of the month to turn cooler, or perhaps even colder, as we go through to the final 10 days or so of the month. I think we will build some ridging in the Atlantic, possibly set something up over Greenland, although that is a little bit more speculative. I would go more for the kind of cold snap that we had at the end of December, really, which was fairly significantly cold for a few days after Christmas, but not a proper sort of block pattern embedded in over Greenland. So that's what I would predict, that we come out with a warmer than average first half, chance of a colder second half, not severely cold, but certainly colder than the first half, and once you average it all out, probably coming out around, or maybe again just a little bit above average, similar to what we had in December. The rainfall does look quite alarming, but I think that could be a little bit over the top. Certainly the first half of the month probably is going to be significantly wetter than average, but I would suspect once you get through to the second half of the month, if this sort of colder weather comes off, then we can probably expect the rainfall anomaly not to be as wet as that. So I would suspect that for rainfall, we probably come out a little bit above average, same as we're a little bit above average with the temperature, but not huge deviations. And certainly I'm not seeing any sign of those sort of catastrophic storms and floods that we had through January last year, which was an awful January, the worst one that I can really ever remember. It was a horrible month. Finally, having a look at the CFSV2 500 millibar high anomalies for February. Now, February is the one that I've been pinning the greatest chance of a cold month on. I've been thinking that February could be quite a coldish month, but there's no sign of it really on this update. What the model is still seeing for February is an ongoing pattern with a deep trough of low pressure between Scotland and Iceland, and the ridge around the Azores, and this westerly just carries on coming through the country, so no real change there for February from the CFSV2, but these charts are open to changing, chopping and changing quite a bit, and I think we'll worry about February when we get to it. Let's see if we can pull off this colder snap for the second half of January, and then we'll worry about February when we get to it. So in the final analysis, the January 2015 forecast from GavsWebBiz.com is for a month of two halves, very westerly, pretty mild, but quite wet. First half of the month could be some significant winds as well during that period. The second half of the month should turn more variable. I don't think we'll embed in a proper block pattern over Greenland, but it should turn cold. We should get some ridging in the Atlantic and probably set the troughs up to the east of the country a little bit. So some colder weather, wintry potential for the second half of the month. Averaging it all out, the temperature normally comes out around or maybe just a smidging above average, and the rainfall anomaly again around or just a little bit above average. So that's the forecast from GavsWebBiz.com. We'll see how it goes, and as ever we'll evaluate next month when we do the February forecast. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.